A very good evening and welcome to this Sunday's edition of Newsfirst Weekend, coming to you live from our Newsfirst studios in Colombo. I'm Arundhati Mudannayak. Let's start off with a look at your stories making headlines this evening.
Suspect arrested with Yoshitha Rajapaksa hospitalized. Decision on Parliament seat left vacant by late MKADS Gunawardena in 2 days. Politicos respond to preparations to form an opposition alliance.
ප්‍රශ්න තියෙනවා නම් ඒවා නායකයෝ බේරගන්න.
වෙන පක්ෂ ඇදුවත් ඔය മന്ത്രിවරු තස් කළා දාන්න පුළුවන්.
මේ දුක් නොදකින් කියන්නේ වෙන මොනවද?
Court issues detention orders for suspect apprehended with 20 kilograms of heroin. Zika virus continues to spread in Latin America. Dengue in Colombo. 483 cases reported in January.
A media briefing was convened at the police field force headquarters today to explain facts pertaining to the arrest of Yoshitha Rajapaksa and 4 others.
When examining email messages pertaining to the operations of the company, it became evident that Navy Lieutenant Yoshitha Rajapaksa functioned as the chairman and chief decision maker of the company. Money laundering is a serious organized crime. These individuals were questioned, and the facts they mentioned in their statements during questioning did not indicate their innocence. As such, the suspects were arrested under Section 32 of the Penal Code and were produced before the Kadwala magistrate. Further investigations are underway, and when investigations are concluded, the files will be submitted to the Attorney General so a case can be filed against them at the High Court. One of the suspects who is directing the company is abroad and is due to be arrested. Her name is Shadya Karunachi. She is currently overseas. I have revealed what information I can based on the current stage of the investigation.
Speaking in Monoragala today, Finance Minister Ravi Kannanayaka had this to say on the arrest of the suspects, including Yoshitha Rajapaksa.
When 2 or 3 persons were arrested recently, they questioned if this was political vengeance. They ran these institutions for several years without following any rules or regulations. When we pointed this out to the people and received their mandate to take action, they are calling it political vengeance. What sort of joke is this? When it comes to senior officials of the previous government, the former president and his family, they have a problem. Please do not mix this up. An era where we act placing the law foremost has dawned.
One of the suspects arrested along with Yoshitha Rajapaksa yesterday has been transferred to the prison hospital. The suspect in question was admitted to the prison hospital for treatment of a persisting ailment resulting from injuries sustained in a road accident prior to his arrest.
The Kadwala magistrate ordered last night that 5 suspects, including Yoshitha Rajapaksa, Nishantha Ranatunga and Rohan Valivita, be taken into remand custody.
The charges were filed under the Money Laundering Act over the misuse of funds and criminal breach of trust. Some of the charges that were filed are for bailable offences. With regard to some of the other charges, it is the magistrate's prerogative. When acting on his prerogative, the magistrate must consider if there is a risk that a suspect will flee the country or if the suspect can exert pressure. Since Yoshitha Rajapaksa is an officer in the Navy, it is exceedingly clear that he cannot flee the country. It is the FCID that must submit evidence in this case, and we will have to consider the evidence submitted by the FCID.
The suspects were brought to the Valikada remand prison last night.
The suspects are being detained at the J unit of the Colombo remand prison. One of the suspects was admitted to the prison hospital on medical recommendation. Only gallowers can provide security within the premises of the prison, but we have asked for police protection for the external gates. The prison is providing food for all the suspects. None of the suspects have made requests to receive food from outside.
Meanwhile, a group including former President Mahinda Rajapaksa and MP Namal Rajapaksa visited the detainees this afternoon.
It is okay if political vengeance is exacted from politicians, but it is a problem when that vengeance is directed at their children. I wouldn't mind if they arrest me and put me in a cell. There is a doctor here. He is a shareholder. He was told to mention Yoshitha's name and that they would release him or they would imprison him if he refused. This is the truth. This is good governance apparently. Even the B report does not properly mention the charges against them. They have turned their attention to exacting vengeance from us and are happily whiling away their time.
Several politicians commented on the arrest today.
There are no problems in the country. The only problem was the Rajapaksa family. Now the Rajapaksa family too is finished. One of them was arrested yesterday and more will be arrested in the near future. Isn't this the case? How can the cabinet spokesperson say they will arrest 2 Rajapaksas next week? The court will determine who is right and who is wrong. But we are saddened by the fact that Yoshitha Rajapaksa has been remanded. He is the son of the former president and we do not like it when any of our friends are remanded. But we must also say that when the law is enforced, it is good if it is equal to all. Although Basil Rajapaksa was remanded, he did not spend a day in prison. Since he is Ranil Wickremesinghe's friend, he spent the entire 3 months in the merchant ward of the National Hospital in Colombo. Kumar Gunaratnam is facing charges over his passport. He has been remanded. But in the case of the passports of Vimal Veerawans and his wife, Ranil Wickremesinghe intervened to prevent them from being taken into remand custody. So the law must be equal to all. It does not matter if Hirunika Premachandra is from the UNP. If she abducts someone in a black defender, then the law must be enforced against her.
හිරුනිකා ප්‍රේමචන්ද්‍ර UNP කියලා හරියන්නේ නැහැ. එයා කළු ඩිෆෙන්ඩර් ගිහලා අතුරු දහන් කරා නම් කාව හරි එයාටත් නීතිය ක්‍රියාත්මක වෙන්න ඕන.
Speaking at a blood donation campaign held in Pannala this evening, former President Mahinda Rajapaksa had this to say on the matter. I had to send my son to the armed forces against a backdrop where men were hesitant to enlist. My son Yoshitha. There are 5 days of the week where the courts are in session, but they arrested him on a Saturday morning and put him in prison. They say the order will only be issued in another 14 days. I asked Yoshitha how he was doing when I visited him today. He said the conditions were better than in the Trincomalee camp. We have made mistakes too, I won't deny it. But when their sons and daughters were caught up in various issues, our humaneness prevailed. Recently they searched for gold in the swimming pool, claiming that I had filled the pool with sand to hide the gold. So the heads of the CID believed this was true and searched for it. They found a pair of slippers. Then they checked to see if the slippers were made of gold. Obviously they were not. So they concluded the slippers must belong to me.
Speaking at a media briefing today, leader of the Janasita Peramuna Venerable Battaramulle Silarathanathara commented on the arrest of Yoshitha Rajapaksa.
Yoshitha Rajapaksa hitapu janadipittumage puta.
Now the son of the former president, Yoshitha Rajapaksa, was arrested. This is political revenge. But I would like to ask the government of good governance whether they have arrested a single person who is responsible for bringing down large amounts of drugs and selling them in the country and destroying this country. No. Containers full of ethanol were brought to this country. Were any of them arrested? No. 100 to 200 kilograms of drugs were brought to this country. But who was arrested? Well, they put on a show by arresting a few small-time henchmen.
කවුද ගත්තේ අත්තරංගුවට මේ පොඩි හිංචයිලා ටිකක් ගන්නවා හිංචයිලා ටික අරගෙන
Have we forgotten?
Former President's Chief of Staff Gamini Sinarath was accused of financial fraud on numerous occasions. On the 14th of January last year, an office allegedly belonging to Gamini Sinarath close to the Jubilee Kanwa Junction in Nogegoda came under inspection. On the same day, a house belonging to him was also inspected upon a tip-off received of a hidden stash of money. The Jatika Hela Urumia lodged a complaint against Gamini Sinarath to the Department of Inland Revenue. Documents which included details of Gamini Sinarath amassing wealth and property in an illegal manner were submitted to the Special Investigations Unit of the Department of Inland Revenue. All the details of the lands and property of Gamini Sinarath are under the name of his mother-in-law, Malkanti Gunaratna. Gamini Sinarath has constructed a 3-story house at number 47/2 down Gregory's Road worth over 1,000 million rupees and another house worth 300 million rupees adjacent to it. He has also constructed a 3-story building close to the Maradana Police, which is worth around 700 million. A format factory worth over around 5,000 million rupees with equipment worth around 2,000 million rupees on a land of around 5 acres was constructed in just 3 years. There is also building and land worth around 50 million rupees in Batramulla, Don Panipitiya Road, and a 200 million rupees worth 10-acre land in Meegoda. There is also land in Bolgoda. There is land worth 1,000 million rupees in Hakmana. There is another 50-acre land worth 200 million rupees in Bandagiriya Hambantota. There is another 15-acre land in Anuradhapura. There is a house worth 700 million rupees down Mata Road in Borella and a 600 million rupees worth luxury house located down Gregory Lake Road in Noora Elia.
නුවරඑළියේ කෝටි 60ක් පමණ වටිනා ගෙගරි ව්‍යාපාරේ පිහිටි සුපිරි නිවස හා ඉඩම.
On the 27th of March last year, former President's Chief of Staff Gambini Sinarath was summoned to the large-scale Financial Fraud Investigations Division for a statement. He was grilled for more than 3 hours and a statement was recorded. Police said that he was questioned over alleged financial irregularities at a leasing company. On the 20th of April 2015, court permitted the CID to investigate 80 banks and financial institutions belonging to Gambini Sinarath and 9 other members of his family. This was upon a request made by the Financial Investigation Division. What happened next?
We
handed over a large amount of information and documents to the Commission to investigate allegations of bribery or corruption. We also handed over copies to the Department of Inland Revenue and Criminal Investigations Department. So what has happened to those investigations now? Are they still being investigated or have they been swept under the carpet? The people of this country have the right to know the truth about this. Will or will not cases be filed against those corrupt persons? Are these investigations not being followed up? Is there an invisible force behind this? Or is there a political deal with this person? So we ask that the investigations be conducted into this immediately and that measures be taken to bring those persons before the law. As the anti-corruption front, we demand the government to fulfill this. We are extremely concerned and frustrated.
Have we forgotten?
Who will fill the empty parliamentary seat left vacant following the demise of Minister MKADS Kunwardhana?
I was planning on contesting, but then I was told not to because I would be brought in through the national list. But I am the one next in line on the national list. It is us, the Unity Through Power Devolution movement, who should be given that vacant seat because we were the ones who walked to every corner of the country to cause this revolution and bring about democracy. Ranil Wickremesinghe and I signed an MOU that day. We were given several nominees from our groups. We were also given a national list seat, and that seat was given to MKADS Kunwardhana. We will hold talks with the Prime Minister and appoint an individual who is strong and charismatic for the government. The vacant seat in Parliament should be given to the Democratic National Movement. According to the terms in the agreement, we believe that it should be given to us.
Names of several high-profile politicians have been mentioned to fill this vacant seat in Parliament. Here are some of the views expressed on the matter.
Reports suggest that the United National Party and Democratic Party are to sign an agreement over the next 2 days.
So far, we have constantly spoken with Sarath Fonseca. We hope to merge the Democratic Party with the United National Party in the future. We are currently in talks on signing a joint agreement for this. We have been discussing this matter for nearly 2 months now. I'm in talks with the leader of the UNP as well as its chairman Malik Samaravikrama and General Secretary Kabir Hashim to resolve many issues. We have not come to a final decision as yet. However, we do intend on doing so in the future. There is a possibility that Fonseca could be given that seat. There is a section that is requesting that he be given that seat. There are also others who are asking for that vacant seat. We have the names we nominated through the national list. There are also those who contested, but it is the UNP who will take that decision. The final decision will be taken either tomorrow or the day after.
The apparent formation of an opposition alliance with a group from the SLFP continues to cause controversy in political circles. Let's take a look at what some of the political figures had to say on the subject.
If there are any issues aroused within the party, its leaders will resolve them. We are members or organizers. We are there to acknowledge those resolutions and give strength to the party and to take it forward. If Maithripala Sirisena had dissolved parliament on the night of the 9th of January, there would be not more than 30 to 60 SLFP parliamentarians within the government today. If all Pradesh Sabhas and urban councils were dissolved the night the general elections concluded, today we would not have even one urban council nor Pradesh Sabha as an SLFP stronghold. He did not make any of those calls for the sake of the party.
ගම්මන්පිල මහත්තයා මට කියනවා
Gammanpila says that I am like the fox with a case of sour grapes. I think he's the king of the foxes. He says he's a lion, but when he opens his mouth, we hear the howl of the fox. He was the one that broke through the cave door and split the Hela Urumea. He went against Mahinda and wrote books for Maithripala before going back to Mahinda. He says that they will form a new party with a new symbol and push the SLFP back to 3rd or 4th place. Gammanpil became an MP with votes from the SLFP. Vimal Veerawangsa came first with preferential votes from the SLFP. Dinesh Gunawardena won the election with SLFP votes. Now they are saying they will push the SLFP to 4th place. So when they push the SLFP to 4th place, who will they push to 1st place? The UNP. When the SLFP splits, the UNP will come first. They have accepted the contract to make the UNP come first. If persons in the SLFP form another party, the SLFP can expel those MPs. They would not do this. The party can expel Mahinda Rajapaksa too if he does this. He is from the SLFP. If he forms another party and becomes its leader, it would not be a positive outcome. Just as he did not get into parliamentary polls, he will not get dragged into this. He constantly speaks of how he has set a record for never breaking away from the party. I do not believe that he wishes to abandon this record.
Speaking at a public meeting in Chilao today, the Janata Vimukti Peramuna vehemently criticised the activities of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs under the government of good governance.
One of the main accusations against the Rajapaksa regime was the appointment of Rajapaksas for the diplomatic service. So this government came into power solely to change this. Now I saw in today's newspapers that while Mangala Samaravira is serving as the Minister of Foreign Affairs and Harsha De Silva as the Deputy Minister, Charita Ratwatta, who is a school friend of Ranil Wickramasinghe, has been appointed to oversee the Ministry of Foreign Affairs as a whole. So it isn't anyone else who is in the diplomatic service who is overseeing these matters. It is Ranil Wickramasinghe's school friend who is. If you can remember, during the 2001 to 2003 UNP government, which functioned without giving a single job, Charita Ratwatta served as the Secretary to the Ministry of Finance in that government.
Court issued detention orders today for a suspect who was arrested in possession of 20 kilograms of heroin. The Balapitiya magistrate ordered that the suspect be produced in court on the 6th of February.
The stock of heroin was seized following a tip-off received by officers of the Special Bureau of the Ambalangoda Police. The police, with the help of an informant, seized the stock of heroin near the Madampe hospital. More drugs were discovered when the suspect's home was searched. The police seized 20 kilograms and 876 grams of heroin and 1 kilogram and 100 grams of Kerala ganja, a potent variety of marijuana. The suspect is a 37-year-old fisherman residing in Ambalangoda.
The Colombo Municipal Council says that there is a risk in the spread of dengue in several areas in the city of Colombo.
In an operation conducted by the Municipal Council, it was revealed that dengue mosquitoes have spread in areas such as Sinuwan Gardens, Dematokoda and Wallawatta. Most people believe that the dengue-breeding mosquitoes such as Aedes aegypti and Aedes albopictus can only spread the dengue virus. Apart from dengue, this mosquito also spreads the chikungunya virus, the Zika virus, which is currently spreading rapidly across America and Africa, and 4 other diseases. Zika virus has been an issue which has been largely spoken of in recent days. It is spread by the dengue mosquito. What measures have we taken to stop this menace? Newsfirst made inquiries. Although this is not the rainy season, the spread of dengue mosquitoes has seen a rise. 483 cases have been reported this month in the Colombo municipality. The majority of patients reported are from areas with cluster housing. Waste management problems brought about by congestion contribute to creating breeding grounds for the dengue mosquito. Even though we have informed the Municipal Council, they provide us only with temporary solutions and not a permanent one. Due to this unpleasant environment, not only us, but our children are also facing problems.
දුක් ගැටලු විඳිනවා.
We are living in sadness. If someone comes forward to rectify this issue, then we will help them in it. There are a lot of mosquitoes here. We can't sleep in the nights. We live with the mosquitoes. Nobody comes here. The ministers just visit and leave. Many children have been admitted to hospital due to the dengue virus. We ask you to provide us relief. We are poor and helpless.
ඩෙන්ගු මදුරු කීටයින්
All measures to destroy the primary mosquito breeding places and also to destroy the female mosquitoes through biological and chemical sciences have been taken. We hope to conduct dengue prevention campaigns in the future with the assistance of the Ministry of Health.
ක්‍රියාත්මක කරන්නට සෞඛ්‍ය අමාත්‍යාංශයේ සහයෝගයත් ඇතුව.
No one wants to die. Everyone wants to live for at least the next day. They should think of the children and take preventive measures for the future.
A funeral of sorts was held at the Kumbichakkulam market in Anuradhapura today. People brought a coffin and wreaths to the market today to protest their being evicted from the trade stalls. Once this location housed only temporary stalls which allowed many to ply their trade at this location. Since permanent stalls have been built, it is said that over 200 vendors will lose their livelihood. When Newsfirst made inquiries, the Municipal Commissioner of Anuradhapura, Rohana Dasa, said steps would be taken to address the vendors' grievances. Minister of Finance Ravikanta Nayaka says that the tariff per kilogram of imported rice has been increased from 30 rupees to 50 rupees. The minister expressed these views speaking at the opening ceremony of a newly constructed granary in the Buttal area in Munaragala. Minister of Housing and Construction Sajid Premadasa says that the preliminary steps to provide land ownership for 1.5 million people have been taken.
Minister Sajid Premadasa made this statement at a public meeting held in the Pannegama area in Tissa Maharama. We have hundreds and thousands of people in the country who do not have lands of their own. They have their names enlisted in the voting list and are identified as citizens, but they do not have a right to own a land of their motherland. This good governance government, which we designed, is currently working towards providing land for the 1.2 to 1.5 million people of this nation who do not own a land of their own or the right to build a house on a piece of land. The rulers of this country and many governments in the past have always tried to only strengthen their own right over land.
A memorial to mark the 20th anniversary of the Central Bank bombing was held at the Central Bank in Colombo today.
The Central Bank bombing, which shocked the nation on the 31st of January 1996, was one of the deadliest terrorist attacks carried out by the LTTE during the civil war in Sri Lanka. A truck containing about 440 pounds of high explosives crashed through the main gate of the Central Bank of Sri Lanka, a seaside high-rise which managed most of the financial business of the country. The blast killed at least 91 people and injured 1,400 others. The event held today to mark the attack was attended by the Governor of the Central Bank of Sri Lanka, Arjuna Mahendran, relatives of those who lost their lives in the attack, and also those who were injured and disabled following the attack.
Reverberations of that day are still continuing. As you can see, even today in the newspapers, all the articles are full about this reconciliation process and the various political issues that are cropping up alongside this. What I am happy is that we in the Central Bank have put all that behind us. We have come together and we have managed to bring about amity between all the different religions, the different cultures that exist in the bank, and I think we are setting an example to the rest of the country. And I hope very much that this will continue in the spirit of amity, that we continue to interact with each other and take this institution to greater heights.
And with that, we wrap up tonight's edition of News First Weekend. Thank you very much for joining us. Good night.